Okay, can you hear me? Excellent, yeah. We will begin. It's 10:15, so we'll begin. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our talk this morning. My name is Adam Boynton, so I am a security sales manager at Jamf. We're going to be doing this as a double act, so myself and Mathieu will be presenting to you today. I am obviously English, so the session will be in English. Mathieu is French, so if anyone has any questions they'd prefer to ask in French, Mathieu will be on hand to answer them. So Mathieu will do the first part, so I'll pass.
Hi everyone, really happy to be here in front of you. So I'm Mathieu Truong, I'm Security Sales Manager here at Jamf, and we're going to start. So today we are going to be discussing about the trends in Apple adoption in the enterprise and how it impacts the security landscape. We will be sharing some of the latest research from our Jamf Threat Labs team about macOS and mobile devices, as well as we'll be introducing our latest solution, Jamf Executive Threat Protection. So first, let's go very quickly through the agenda again. So first, we'll see who is Jamf and what we do. Then we will go over the security landscape around macOS and mobile threats. Then we'll try to understand why there is an increase in the Apple attacks. And finally, we will see why Jamf might be the right solution to address those challenges. So, why should you listen to us? Why should you trust Jamf when it comes to securing your Apple and mobile platforms? Because we know that these platforms, like no others, we have more than 20 years of experience around Apple platforms, and we are considered as the market leader with solutions that fills the gap between what Apple creates and what the enterprise needs. We currently have more than 75,000 active customers worldwide, managing and securing more than 32 million devices. We have created the biggest Apple community with more than 150,000 active members composing the Jamf Nation. We are helping most of the biggest companies in the world and are covering all verticals, including finance, tech, public, and I would say most industries. So all our security solutions are backed with our Jamf Threat Labs, and that is built with experienced threat researchers, cybersecurity analysts, and data scientists. This amazing team drives the intelligence across all our security platforms, and they frequently report security bugs and zero-day threats to Apple in order to help them make Apple platforms always more secured. For example, the last few years, our team has been studying the ongoing use of sophisticated spyware, including indicators previously attributed to NSO group Pegasus, used to target mobiles of very high-risk individuals, like VIPs, etc. So we'll be sharing some of the research led by our Threat Lab teams during today's presentation. So iOS devices has already penetrated the market for years, but we see that macOS is starting to follow the same adoption curve. This might be due to the fact that millennials are massively coming into the enterprise, and they actually prefer to work with what they know. So when it comes to device employee choice program, it seems that people tend to choose Apple platform over Windows, especially with macOS. So I'd like to present you quickly one of our major customer case with Cisco that has been one of the first large IT company to launch a large-scale employee choice program. And numbers speaks for itself. After only a few years, more than 60% of the workforce are now using a Mac, and it completely spreads across multiple functions. Oops. Yeah, sorry. So not only macOS are spreading massively across the enterprise, but they have also chosen the whole Jamf portfolio to both manage and secure their Apple devices, including their laptops and mobile. So our customers, they frequently tells us that we can't really treat Apple devices in the same way when it comes to management and security. So we really need to think different when it comes to Apple. Now I will hand over the floor to my colleague.
Okay. So yeah, we are seeing this trend that Mac and obviously mobile's growth and reliance and use in the enterprise is inevitable. We see amongst our customer base when they implement Mac, those numbers increase steadily year on year. So we know that what we use today in terms of Mac OS market share, that number is going to increase significantly. But ultimately, so do attackers and bad actors. They are also jumping on this trend. They recognize that, as it says on the screen here, the attack surface on Apple is now larger than ever before. Now, our good friends at Apple do an excellent job at building an incredibly secure operating system, both with macOS and iOS, and ultimately, so we support Android as well on the mobile front, and Android is no different in terms of some inbuilt features within the operating system. Apple, in the last couple of years, in particular, have put out releases such as Rapid Security Response, which has been very popular amongst our customers. There's Lockdown Mode, which is quite a unique feature specifically designed to protect an individual if they do think their phone has been compromised. And also, there's a number of APIs that are available to security companies such as ourselves to enhance what Apple build. I was actually at a similar event to this in Denmark a couple of weeks ago, and the keynote speaker, his closing comment was, if you want to reduce your vulnerability to attacks, give your users iPads and Macs instead of Windows machines. Now, that was maybe a throwaway comment, but we do know that there is, as it says on screen here, a head start when you implement these devices. However, who here remembers this advert? Maybe a quick show of hands. This was quite a popular advert. I don't know if it was 10 years ago or so now, and there was a series, but one of them was, hey, I'm a Mac, I don't get a virus. And then the guy who was a Windows was sneezing a lot. So this was kind of, from the start, this was well known that this is how Apple products were marketed. Unfortunately, like I said, attackers no longer sort of see Apple as this niche operating system. They are specifically investing a lot of money, and this is just the last 6 months, some press cuttings from various attacks, campaigns, vulnerabilities that are being exploited on the Apple platform. Now, as Matthew said, we are very fortunate at Jamf that we have a dedicated research team that's specifically looking for Apple and mobile threats. And each year we produce a report where we analyze our customers' data. So there's 74,000 customers, 32 million devices. There's a lot of data that we have at our disposal to produce these statistics. Last year, a couple of the key points that I found particularly interesting was we found 21 new macOS malware families. So there's about 300 in total now. 21 were newly discovered last year. A lot of organizations were running devices with known vulnerabilities. So I mentioned Rapid Security Response as a popular feature. We're still seeing there are a lot of organizations that have devices that have potentially or the ability to be more secure if they're running the latest and greatest operating system, but they're not either running latest version or they're running applications with known vulnerabilities. And 9% successful phishing attacks. That to me surprised me. I think everyone in this room has probably done some form of phishing training or investing in phishing training to stop users clicking on phishing links. Yeah, if you've got 100 employees, 9 of those are clicking on phishing links at some form or the other. Phishing now is not just limited to email. This could be an SMS phishing attack. It could be, even we've seen phishing attacks in apps like Slack and Teams or like Reddit forums. So there's an increase in phishing attacks in particular. Now, we did a further study of the Mac malware families I mentioned, and again, I won't go into too much detail on this particular study, but a couple of points that also stood out to me. Adware continues to be the dominant threat on targeting Mac, but we are starting to see a lot more sophisticated attacks. We saw a supply chain attack targeting Mac specifically for the first time. And interestingly to me, last year we found evidence for the first time that a state-sponsored threat group, so in this case the Lazarus Group, which are linked to the North Korean government, I think their work often funds their weapons program within North Korea. They specifically were targeting macOS as a campaign. They produced cryptojacking and ransomware attacks that were targeting macOS for the first time. So we're starting to see, these nation states are really targeting this as a platform. Mobile is no different. So you can see a couple of recent sort of announcements on the mobile side of things. We know that on iOS, you now have the ability, as you have on Android for a while now, to download applications from outside the official iOS App Store. Isn't necessarily a security problem, but what it does potentially introduce is less vetting of the applications that users can download onto their mobile devices. And if there's less vetting, there's a higher chance that something could have been missed. And also, obviously, local to here, Brussels spyware bombshell. So I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, the European Parliament put out a press release declaring that a number of their individuals were found to have active Pegasus or spyware software running on their devices. So, yeah, there is an increase in mobile attacks, and again, looking at our own research to back that up. I mentioned the 9% phishing attacks in terms of success rate. On a mobile device, users are twice as likely to click on a phishing link as they are on a desktop or Mac. Why might that be? I mean, there's some obvious reasons. The simple fact that the screen size is smaller, you can't always inspect the full URL. We might receive a text message from a domain or service that we are familiar with. It's quite common, let's say for Microsoft or Apple, to send you a text message, maybe as part of multi-factor authentication. So if a user receives a text message which looks like it's from Microsoft and the link takes them through to a convincing Microsoft site, it's obviously a lot harder to determine if that is phishing compared to a desktop. A lot of organizations have devices running these third-party app stores. Like I said, that isn't automatically a security risk, but it just increases that chance of an application performing maliciously or misbehaving. And 1% of organizations with confirmed mobile malware. Now you might say, well, that's quite a low number. But like I said, this is studies from 74,000 customers, 32 million devices. So 1% of that number is still quite a significant number of organizations with this confirmed mobile malware running on their devices. So why has there been an increase in attacks? Now, one of the reasons, as we've already stated, is the attack surface has grown. Apple has become more popular. But actually analyzing that further, this is another study that our Threat Labs team done. They really make my job easy, the Threat Labs team. They analyzed, these are macOS malware samples that our product detected in a 6-month period from last year. We then took those malware samples and uploaded them to VirusTotal. So again, maybe quick show of hands, is everyone familiar with VirusTotal and the tool? It's an online security database, if you're not familiar, that a lot of security companies contribute their intelligence to. So as an individual, I can go onto VirusTotal and check if files or domains are indeed flagged as malicious by the security companies. Now, when we uploaded our malware samples to VirusTotal, over half were undetected or unknown entirely. So these are confirmed macOS malware that we are detecting with our platform that is going missed by over half of the contributors to VirusTotal. Why might that be? Majority of the security tools on VirusTotal and in the market today are built with Windows in mind. And rightly so, Windows is and has been the dominant operating system, and clearly you need to make sure that you are protecting those operating systems. Looking at the MITRE ATT&CK framework for Windows, there are a number of threat vectors that security solutions and security individuals should be protecting against. However, if you cross-reference those to Mac, and our macOS users in the room will know this, none of these exist on Mac. So macOS has its own set of threat vectors that as a security solution, you need to be focusing on and protecting against. Not saying all Windows first solutions don't do this, but it's important that you check when you do use these products that were built with that operating system, are they taking macOS seriously, or are they just ticking a box to say that they can support it? So to summarize, what we find when we do experience customers with these Windows-built security solutions, when they run it on a Mac, and to be fair, the same is true, maybe even actually more so on a mobile device, there are a few sort of limitations. The user experience is often sacrificed, either sort of running a high CPU usage, draining battery, maybe not performing as expected. The last thing you want to do if you are investing in a Mac or you are investing in an iPhone is put some software on there that inhabits or interferes with how the user uses their device. You want to make sure that they're getting the most out of it. They often, as we testified with the VirusTotal example, maybe aren't providing adequate protection and visibility of attacks. And also we've seen, and this is very important from a security point of view, if they're not able to support the latest versions of operating system, particularly with things like rapid security response, it leaves you as a security professional with a dilemma. Do I push through this latest update that Apple have done to fix this known security issue, but it means my security product doesn't support it? Or do I leave it on an old version where my security solution does, but it's not protected against that latest patch? So it's very, it can be a challenge in terms of Windows first tools. So this is where we come in as Jamf. So our products are purpose-built for the respective operating systems. So we have a purpose-built macOS security solution. We also have a purpose-built mobile security solution, of which Matthew will focus on in a little bit more detail. It is built for the operating systems that we are ultimately designing. They're designed to support the operating systems that we are supporting. One of the first things we do for both our Mac and mobile product is make sure that you as a customer are utilizing the inbuilt security features within the respective operating systems. If Apple and Android are pushing out these security updates, they're only effective if you're actually using them in the latest version across each of your devices. So when you first use our security product, we'll give you an immediate indication if any of your devices are potentially not up to date with the latest and greatest patches or versions. You'll be able to see immediately if there are any areas of weakness within your estate. And through our other products, but we can also integrate with your existing stack if you're using something else to manage these devices, we can automate any remediation that's required as well from an MDM point of view. Another thing we do is around sort of threat hunting and monitoring of the Mac. So we have a lot of sort of data that we are analyzing. Very popular is the telemetry features within our product. All of this can be sent to your SIEM solution. So one of the feedback we get from customers is, yeah, I understand I need a best-of-breed security product, but I also am being pressured by the business, or even my personal opinion is I want a single pane of glass to manage all of my operating systems. And from a security point of view, I don't want to have to deal with multiple consoles to do that. So we put a big emphasis on our integrations with other security tooling, especially on the SIEM and log collection point of view. So we integrate with all the kind of leading SIEM providers. There's a lot of APIs within our product as well, which we can send data through to ultimately a dashboard or a source of your choosing, so that all of the data from each of your operating systems is in the same place, but as a kind of assurance that on the devices that users are running, you've got the best possible protection, best possible user experience that you could have. Then obviously we're not just doing the monitoring, we're proactively preventing threats as well. A lot of the threat intelligence is underpinned by that Threat Labs team and the research they do, so that really stands us out when it comes to actually detecting and preventing attacks on these operating systems. Built into our product, we have DNS filtering as standard, so there's no need to use an additional product to do that kind of network protection and web filtering. We'll provide that through a DNS resolver, which we build into the product, so you can block phishing attacks and malicious traffic. Can also be used for traditional content filtering if that is something you're interested in doing. And then we do enforce acceptable usage on the device. So that might be controlling what applications a user can or can't have running. It could be controlling what websites they visit, but also very popular on the Mac is controlling how users are using third-party like USB or mass media devices. So we have controls in place to manage or limit that for you. So very briefly, this is like an end user experience, just showing you what would happen if the user did encounter malware. Like our mission, if you like, is that the user experience, as I've mentioned several times, isn't interrupted or interfered with. The whole idea is that we want the users to not even realize there's third-party software running on the Mac. So in this instance, they're only informed and alerted even when the malware in this instance has been blocked. And as you can see, it's also been removed and remediated from there. So some further data just to kind of really back up my point, if I've not made it clear already. When we compare our product against the Windows First solution, this was a study done by a partner of ours. They benchmarked the solution against a Windows First solution. As you can see, on a macOS, Windows solutions are able to provide some layers of protection, but there are certain gaps that they are missing in terms of the analysis we've done. When we look at some specific Apple and Mac malware, some of these are quite well known. Again, some protection is in place, but not every malware was picked up, detected, and blocked. And then from an analytics point of view, we really are sort of head and shoulders above anything else if you want to do that kind of threat monitoring and threat hunting on the macOS platform. All right, I'll pass over to Matthew so you have a different voice for a few minutes.
So, At Jamf, we truly believe that it's really important to have a complete mobile security strategy as well. So that is why we are proposing different levels of protection on any mobile platforms, including iOS and Android. So for that, we have, I would say, a first layer of security with our mobile threat defense solution called Jamf Protect. And the goal of this solution is really to identify the everyday life malware and threats on the mobile device. So the goal is to detect and block the most common attacks that you could encounter on your mobile devices, such as finding malicious applications, prevent from mobile phishing, or maybe protect people from connecting to a rogue Wi-Fi in the trade show, for example. So the goal is really to reduce the attack surface of all the mobile devices within your companies. But for some specific users that you may have in your company, like VIPs traveling to unsafe country to negotiate very difficult contracts, for example, they could be targeted by very specific and sophisticated spyware, for example. The goal is not to get the money out of it, it's mostly to be installed on the device and get like strategic information, get access to pictures, camera, microphone, etc. So for that, we have launched a new solution called Jamf Protect, Jamf Executive Threat Protect, which allows to absorb, get all the logs at the deepest level of the device. So you apply a scan on the device, you get the log at the kernel system level, and then our solution is able to correlate all these logs to do investigation and forensics on these mobile devices. We'll see a little bit more after. So any device that has access to a corporate resource should either it's a professional or personal device, should have the same level of security when it comes to mobile threats. All it means is checking the baseline for security, protecting against sophisticated attacks, and detect any user-initiated risk. The Jamf Trust app can perform a variety of security checks, including jailbreak detection, monitoring for out-of-date or vulnerable OS version, device encryption status, and more. Some mobile security detections require a UEM connection to collect additional MDM inventory data. The security app contains an advanced machine learning in order to block known and novel phishing attacks, cryptojacking, or risky domain, for example, in real time, before devices are even impacted. It offers category-based content filtering to enforce acceptable use policies. It's the same technology as applied on macOS, and it prevents users from accessing to prohibited or risky contents. And finally, our solution also provides really rich app intelligence insights in order to protect any mobile against risky applications or advanced malware. On top of that, the security applications also integrate with your identity providers in order to check the user legitimacy to access to one app in particular. Then we create a split tunneling in order to route the business traffic through our private access gateway for further checking around like the device posture, for example. And if everything is fine, then we make the secure connection through a micro tunnel VPN. And if there is something wrong happening on the device, then we can block the connection to the corporate application, and we can alert both the admin and the user that something has been going on. And for general internet traffic, then we can either just let the connection go directly to the internet, or we can also route it to our cloud gateway for content filtering purposes. And last but not least, our ZTNA technology is built upon Apple and Google native frameworks, so in order to offer the best experience that your users are expecting from their mobile device. So as I was saying before, for some specific user within your company, might be a VIP or a very important person that need additional attention when it comes to mobile security, because they either handle very confidential information or they frequently travel to a complicated country. That is why we have added this new solution, Jamf Executive Threat Protection, and it offers comprehensive forensics capabilities on all mobile platforms, including iOS and Android. And basically, it collects the log at the deepest level on the device, and in a matter of minutes, it provides detailed results if a mobile has been compromised, and what are actually the impacts on the device and the data itself. And it also gives insights on the timeline of the attack. The solution is very, very simple to use. There is no agent or enrollment required. We just need to plug the device, launch the scan. Again, it's working on iOS and Android. The log collection and analysis is done instantly. The console can be implemented either in our cloud or on-premise. And all the investigation results can then be shared with the incident and response team for further checks and remediation plan. I'll give back to Adam.
So yeah, I guess just to summarize, and obviously not on screen here, this is what is part of our platform, but what Matthew was saying in terms of the executive threat protection, this is a really unique product. We were the only security company last year that had a publicly confirmed detection of Pegasus software through that exact product. But you might be saying, hang on a minute, why do I need mobile threat defense and this additional product? And I have quite a simple analogy that I'll run through, so just bear with me if it doesn't quite make sense initially. So imagine you are building a house from zero. So you're building a house from scratch. That is the same as maybe you're giving a user a phone. From a security point of view, if you're building a house, you'll put a secure front door with like maybe a couple of locks in place. You'll put locks on all of your windows. Maybe you'll build a big fence with a gate. Maybe you'll even buy a guard dog to try and prevent attackers from coming in. That is what mobile threat defense solutions are there to do. It's designed to try and prevent or warn attackers from trying to get onto your device. However, if I'm a nation state or I'm a criminal gang that's got loads of money, a simple lock on the door and a guard dog's not going to stop me or not going to bother me. Like if I really wanted to, I could abseil in through the windows. I could tunnel in underground. If I really wanted to get onto your house, that is where you would invest in laser beams, cameras, some kind of really security system that tells you that there's been a compromise. That is what executive threat protection is doing. So if you are thinking of these devices that have sensitive information that is very valuable, you want to have a combination of a tool that's preventing an attacker from trying to get on there, but also a tool that's capable of telling you, hey, someone did get on there, and this is what they're doing, this is how they got there, and this is the impact of that. So that is why we recommend, certainly for certain individuals who have very valuable data that is either accessible from that phone or indeed if it is used as spyware to listen into conversations, a combination of the both is the best approach. So yeah, I think we got a few minutes. So just to summarize, we're seeing an increase in macOS and mobile, just their use and reliance in the enterprise. That's inevitable. That's obviously great news for us. However, we're also seeing an increase in specific attacks targeting these platforms. What we're then finding is that the Windows first security tools that we've been using for a number of years aren't offering adequate protection. They are offering some, but maybe not the level that we expect. And that is why Jamf is ultimately in the market. We are here to provide you with that best of breed approach, whilst also focusing on integrating with your platforms that you use, and investing in the user experience as well. So yeah, thank you for your time. I think we're pretty much at the time. So any questions, just anyone in these blue shirts, come and ask us either outside or at our stand. Yeah, thank you all. Have a great rest of your day.